Hey there! I've been asked to make a video showing off exactly how I use my Plum Paper Teacher Planner. Ever since I found this planner, my life has become so much easier in terms of planning for instruction in my classroom. I teach pre-kindergarten in a universal pre-kindergarten classroom in New York State in a public elementary school where I run 2 half-day sessions. And my classroom is center-based, so I found that the Plum Paper Planner really suits my needs in that regard because it allows me to fill in every single center on my page, which I'll show you in a second. And it allows me to just see my whole week at a glance, which is great, especially since I run a thematic classroom. So usually I do a weekly theme, or sometimes 2 weeks, or sometimes sort of a hybrid. But either way, this planner has saved me a lot of frustration and aggravation, and I cannot wait to show you exactly how I use it to plan for instruction. So check it out. Okay, so before I begin, I will just inform you that I've been using this planner since December, and in that time I had a slight casualty involving maple syrup. Since then I have begun to use a 31 pouch to carry my planner in, and since then I haven't had any issues, but if you do see that it looks a little bit grimy, or I see there's a shiny spot right here, the reason why is because of the maple syrup incident. But usually these planners come in great quality, they hold up pretty well, and even though I had a traumatic incident, I was able to clean it up pretty nicely. So I will show you, this is the cover of my planner. It has a thin transparent sheet on top, and this is just cardstock. The color's a lot brighter underneath the sheet. It has my name on it, customized, and it also has the span of the dates. And I will start by showing you this week's spread, which is all filled out and already planned for, or last week I should say. And this is what a completed spread looks like in my planner. As you can see, I have my class subjects already filled in, and that's the part that I like the most about using this planner because it saves me so much time. I know what my centers are, I know exactly what I have to fill in every week in order to make sure that I have enough activities for all of the children in my classroom. So the subjects that I chose were Writing Center, Math Center, Blocks/Dramatic Play, Discovery Zone, Sensory/Art, Cozy Corner, and Other. So the Writing Center, I always have a Writing Center. The Math Center, I always have a Math Center. And I included Blocks and Dramatic Play in the same box because more or less, for the most part, blocks are either open or closed, and Dramatic Play is either open or under construction. So since I don't often have much to write there, I figured I can combine those. My Discovery Zone is my Science Center, but it's not always dedicated to science, but still I like to have a designated box for that table, because that way I know that there's an activity there. Sensory/Art, I do have a table designated for sensory activities, and my art easel is either open or closed depending on the day and what activities I'd like to cover. So I combine those because often if I have an easel activity open, then my sensory activity is a little lower key. So that's convenient. My Cozy Corner is my carpet area, which is where I have my gross motor activities where the kids strengthen trunk, neck, and arm. It's also where I have activities involving our overhead projector for visual sensory. It's where we have Write the Room activities with clipboards and large floor puzzles, all kinds of stuff in that regard. So I have that there just to make sure I put something out on the carpet because the kids sit there when I explain the center, so sometimes I forget I need to put something there. And finally I have Other, and that usually encompasses either 1 or 2 more centers depending on what I have to do that week. So there is one table that I have open just in case I need to do assessments or I need to do some one-on-one teacher-run center, but often I do designate that table as an extra literacy center or another math activity, and sometimes I use a easel and a pocket chart, and that doesn't really have an area in the classroom. So sometimes if I have a matching game or an alphabet hunt or something of that ilk, that will be in my Other category. Over here, this says weekly checklist, but this is actually where I record which books I read each day. So I usually put a book sticker right there so I don't forget what it is. I use the little circle there where I guess you'd put a check mark to indicate the date. And then I use the first line for the title of the book and the second line for the author of the book. And since I do one read aloud each weekday, and there are 5, and there are 10 areas for the checklist, that works out perfectly for me for the most part. I can also indicate if I do another reading activity instead of a book, like if we do Scholastic Reader, or if I have a parent coming in to read for a birthday, that's a good place to indicate that I didn't read a book that day. Down here, this is a little box that it's covered up right now because I decorated, but this box typically says notes, and this is pretty versatile depending on what you're doing, because over here, this is where it says prep work, and this is often where I list whole group instruction and sort of lessons that I'm covering and things that I have to remember to do. Occasionally I do use it to list prep work, but it depends on the week. So sometimes I'll list my thematic lessons here, depending on how many there are. Sometimes I'll list them here. So for example, right here, it says 2 more visits from the leprechaun. The leprechaun has been visiting our classroom this week because Tuesday was St. Patrick's Day, and that started the previous week on Thursday. So I needed to indicate that there are 2 more visits that I needed to plan for, because those tend to be something I kind of plan spur of the moment when I come in the morning. And then over here, I just indicated some important dates. For example, the 20th of March was Pajama Day because it was the first day of spring and we woke up our hibernating bear. And also this is the main lesson that I did that day. I did musical instruments. We did a steady beat activity to wake up little Susie because we woke up our hibernating bear. And right here in the box for Saturday and Sunday, I don't teach on Saturday and Sunday, and if I did, it would be problematic because you don't have the entire box for the weekend. But this is where I put my theme for the week and also what movement activity that I end up doing if it's something unique. So that's pretty much how I use my weekly spread. Because I have these designated centers, it's really convenient to plan this way because I can see at a glance that everything has an activity and everything has been planned for. Is my checklist. I have it covered up here with this just so you can't see the kids' names. And this month I haven't had too much going on, and in early childhood classrooms the kids more or less don't do homework or shouldn't be doing homework. So there's not that much to keep track of, so I only added 1 checklist to the back of every month. And see right here, I'm just keeping track of which children have been the mail carrier so far this month, because we have a post office dramatic play, and every child gets an opportunity to ride the tricycle. So if I don't keep track of that, they will inform me that they didn't get their turn, and they will be very angry. So I have to make sure that I have a checklist going for that. And also every month I do name writing for a name book that serves as a form of assessment and a nice gift for the parents at the end of the year. So I'm going to begin my March name writing next week. So far no children have done it, but that will be filled out very soon. Some months are busier than others in regards to using this checklist. This one is a pretty chill month, but some months it's filled up all the way to here, depending on how many kids have to do a project. I also keep track of which kids have brought in changes of clothes for the season. I keep track of which kids already had a chance to, share, depending on what we're doing. All kinds of different stuff. And it comes in handy as a visual reference for who has and has not done stuff. So I do not really use the teacher tab in my Plum Paper Teacher Planner, but it is a nice little perk. So I will show you what that looks like just in case you are interested in seeing what you do. See, it has its own teacher tab that comes with the planner. And it includes a sheet for student health information, which I think it's kind of weird to include health information in like a book that you carry around with you, because what if somebody found this? It just seems kind of personal. So I haven't done that because I have those records elsewhere. Student birthdays, I also keep track of elsewhere. I could probably fill it in on this, but honestly, it's probably just because I'm lazy that I haven't. But this is a really nice little visual reference that I feel like would come in handy if I was actually in the mood to fill it out. We got a bunch more checklists. Checklists. I think they're more useful at the end of the month because I use them monthly and they're less visually intimidating. And also you just have student contact information, which again, I'm not sure I want to be made available if I were to lose this or leave it somewhere. So that I have in my personal files that I carry with me at all times. But there's space for the student, the parents, the phone number, and an email address. And there's a whole bunch of spaces. There's far more spaces than I actually need for the number of students I have in my little classroom. And then there's room for special dates, which is nice for like thematic at-a-glance planning, I suppose. For if you want to see all of your units or your themes at a glance. And then there's lastly a sheet for your contacts, where you can include people that you want to contact as opposed to just your students' families. And a sheet that is nice and handy that shows you all of the holidays and when they fall, which is very helpful for a early childhood teacher who might do thematic content. And finally, there's the little folder where I used to keep my customized sheets, sticker sheets. So I have some sticker sheets that say staff meeting, special conference, assessments, and then also a lot of stickers for mystery readers and birthday readers, because those come up all the time and randomly, and I really don't want to forget when it's a kid's birthday and when they have the parent coming in, because that's embarrassing. So, more or less, that is my Plum Paper Teacher Planner. I'll show you a blank spread. Well, here's a blank monthly view. I don't use that too much. And here is a blank weekly view for you to check out. So that's what it looks like before you attack it with stickers and pens and colors and fun things. And let's see if I can show you one more spread that's already filled out, just so you can get a look at what it might look like. See, I typically fill up every single box for every single day, with the exception of days when we're not in school, and snow days, or special event days. As you can see, I still have my books over here. This time I used a little bit of washi instead of a sticker. And I don't know, I find that it works for me. See, I've indicated a time she is due. I've indicated that I have a mystery reader coming. This month I didn't use my notes box at all. I included everything that I needed to do over here because this was a very busy week in terms of preparing for parent-teacher conferences and assessment data. And that's pretty much it. I hope this was informative or helpful for someone who is maybe deciding on whether or not a Plum Paper Teacher Planner would be useful in their life and in their school life. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And talk to you soon. Bye.